A massive car bomb exploded outside of a large federal building in downtown Oklahoma City, shattering that building, killing children, killing federal employees, military men, and civilians.
The chaos in downtown Oklahoma City did indeed resemble Beirut after what police believe to be a 1,200-pound car bomb ripped through the 9-story federal building shortly after 9 o'clock this morning. More than 500 people were already in their offices, and at least 50 children were in a daycare center on the second floor.
There has been a massive explosion at a federal building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It happened just a short time ago. A large portion of that building has collapsed and fallen away from the rest of the building. At the moment, we don't have any specific numbers on injuries or deaths, but we can tell you that the Red Cross in the Oklahoma City area has asked for all volunteers to report for duty. Also, we can tell you that they've asked for donations of blood, so the situation is obviously serious. We're going to go right now and join our coverage of our sister station, KFOR, in Oklahoma City. They're on the air, and maybe they can give us some more information.
For our viewers who may have just joined us, let's go ahead and recap what happened. There was an explosion. It happened about an hour ago, as you said earlier. Happened at about 9 o'clock. You may have felt it at about 9 o'clock. It was at the Alfred Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City. Right now, we're about to get a live report from the News Channel's Tara Bloom. Tara, what can you tell us?
Well, Lee, just take a look for yourself. There's the Alfred Murrah Federal Building behind me, and you can see just how badly damaged it is. It's about half of the building that is literally hanging, and at the bottom 2 floors are just stacked debris.
I thought it was an earthquake because I resided in California for many years, and it was almost like slow motion. I felt a shake, and then it began shaking more, and I dove under my desk, and then the glass all came in. I think that helped save me. All the glass was gone. It's all over the office.
Where's your office located? Can you point to it?
Here on the 5th floor, right on the end. I can walk from here, from my office to the door where I normally enter, and there's nothing there anymore. It's from me to these individuals that the building's gone.
There's so much chaos up there. You just would not understand. There's so much chaos up there. And trying to be controlled, and people doing their jobs to try to make this a little bit easier than what it is. Couldn't imagine you making it any easier if you take a look at that building over there. But
We don't know who planted this bomb or placed the car bomb there or why. A good deal of speculation, but so far no one, so far as we can tell, has called to take not credit but responsibility for this mendacious act, this absolutely evil act that not only cost so many people serious injuries, but probably cost a good many lives as well, and struck at the heart of the federal system, not just at Oklahomans. And then, of course, there is the psychological damage and the emotional damage as well.
But as far as you're concerned, really still no information, no credible information on who caused this?
No, I have a feeling it was not. I think that was someone with another purpose to make it appear as if it was the Nation of Islam. But again, that's just conjecture at this point. It happens to be something that the President agrees with. So there's no way of telling at this point whether or not that has anything to do with it.
All right.
We do know it's a terrorist type of, this is the conclusion you have to come.
Senator, are you satisfied with what the President told you about the federal response, that everything's being done right now?
I'm satisfied with the federal response, and I'm also satisfied with the state response. I talked to Governor Keating, and I think we're doing everything we can. And but again, it's a tough one to handle. We're just going to have to get to the bottom of it.
Lots of questions out there today, Senator, regarding this, and I'm sure lots of Americans are scratching their heads and saying, Oklahoma City?
It can happen anywhere. If it can happen there, it can happen anywhere else. And I think that, and the President, again, stated this, and we both agreed on this, that it's, first we try to save the lives that are there now, then we try to find out what it is, because this is too well orchestrated, in my view, not to be something connected with terrorist activities, and we're going to have to stop it.
Stressing that we don't know who's behind this. We did talk with the former Oklahoma Congressman Dave McCurdy earlier today, who talked about some Islamic groups that are in that city that have caused concerns and have been watched. What do you know about that?
Well, I just wouldn't want to comment on Dave McCurdy. He was the one I beat for this job, and I don't think that he has any information other than what the President has, and I just talked to the President. I think it's probably doing a disservice to be coming to conclusions concerning the Nation of Islam at this point.
Well, what will people need in Oklahoma City as this day and the days come afterward? What will they need as the shock wears off, as emotions set in, as we hear more news of those that have died? There is information that children have died in this.
Well, and there are currently people trapped. The current thing that is being done right now is to save the lives of those lives that are endangered at the present time. Then as soon as that's over and the dust settles, we'll have a chance to look at it and see, and of course try to find out who is responsible. That would be the first thing. So we'll have to reflect on that tomorrow and see.
If no one comes forward and says and claims responsibility, how confident are you in the investigation afterwards that they'll be able to piece this together and come to some conclusion?
Well, I seriously doubt that anyone would come forward and claim responsibility unless it's some nut out there, and there are a number of those, of course.
It just kept falling. It was a horrible noise. Horrible noise.
What did it sound like?
I don't know. I didn't hear I didn't hear a noise. It was just after what had happened, whatever happened, just the roar of the whole building crumbling. And where I was sitting was the only place the floor didn't cave in. I mean, right over here, the floor was gone.
So the floor that you were sitting on didn't cave, but all around you it did?
No, my little area where I was sitting, but I was on the 7th floor, and then, of course, the 8th floor came down and went through, and then they just kept on going down. Listen, there was a window to a hall by my desk, and I crawled over and got out, and the stairwell was still lit. The light was on in the stairwell.
These nurses from this triage center where we were anticipating they were going to be bringing some of the people who were wounded here. We've set up with about probably 300 to 400 volunteers here. And tell me your name and tell me what they've just told you here at this triage center.
My name's Joanne McCurley. They just told us that they had found 80 people and only 2 were alive, and they told us all to go home.
Okay, so this triage center then is dismantling, is that correct?
Correct, on this side.
Okay, and who told you this about the people who were inside? Who did you get this word from?
The guy in charge of the nurses.
All right, so these other people that are inside, these are casualties then? Is this what you're hearing?
That's my understanding.
9 floors in all, and as you see, as we earlier were showing you the aerial shot, just about all 9 floors had at least one section of them completely scooped away from the building. There you can see it looking up the front face of the building, and this was just shortly after the explosion had first occurred, when the fires were still burning in the cars that had been adjacent to the one that we believe started all of this. Mayor Norrick telling us that he's been told that it was a car bomb loaded with about 1,200 pounds of explosives that started this entire thing.
When we were talking about, Devin was talking about the rescue effort, which is going on and will go on for days. It's going to be really tricky, though. That building, as you can tell, is just extremely unstable. Worries of collapse and everything else, but they're going in there for those people who are crying out for help right now. And again, we mentioned that 62-member rescue and search squad flying in from Phoenix. They have equipment that will help them detect sounds from people who are trapped inside. They're one of the 5 or 6 units in this country who can do this, and they are on their way right now to help out.
It is just amazing. Right now I'm standing right beside a building that's been destroyed from this, which is across the street. And the destruction is just incredible. Although the people seem to be much more under control, when I got here there was an uproar because there were other bomb threats. So they were moving people back. And the really bad situation with that is that we couldn't go in the building right away, or the firemen couldn't go in right away to get to the people that needed assistance.
Mm-hmm. Are they still pulling people out a little at a time?
Yeah, they're still pulling them out. One fireman just said that they are coming out of there with tears, that there are people that they can't get to, or it's taking a long time for them to get to, and they can hear them crying and screaming out for help. And I think it's probably one of the worst situations that some of these firemen have seen.
What do you sense on down the road, later today, tonight, tomorrow, next week?
I sense that as far as the people, I say that this this could take a few days to get to everybody and to clear the building out. I'm just guessing. As far as the destruction that's done, that's going to be that's a long ways away before they get everything cleaned up and back to normal down here.
Assistant Fire Chief.
Bomb squad told us that if there had been a secondary device, that the violent explosion from the primary device would have detonated it. So we have bomb squad members inside the building with our rescue teams. In case we do come across something, they can take care of it immediately.
So the original word on the street of possibly as many as 3 bombs in total is not necessarily true at this time?
Nothing that I know of to confirm that.
Okay. Now, we've also, obviously, we just have a big bus driving by, so you can probably see it and hear the noise, so I'm going to speak up a little bit here. We've heard rumors, and again, tell me if this is confirmed, 6 children dead and 2 adults so far.
Okay, we've heard 8 dead, but I don't have the breakdown yet. I'm going back inside the building now, Jeff, to try to get a more accurate count on things for you, and I'll be out in about an hour. I'm going to go in with our crew and see how we're doing.
And one final thing is that there was a word on collapse, and you mentioned that earlier, right after the initial bomb blast. Part of the building collapsed. Has there been any other collapse since then?
We've had some minor secondary collapses inside the building, and that's going to happen to us. We've got to be very careful as we remove rubble that's unstable. There's some things that we don't want to cause for ourselves, but that's always a possibility right now, and yes, we have had some secondary collapses.
What about other buildings in the area that are very, very close here? What about any of these other buildings that have been hit hard about this with this blast? Are there any other buildings that are in serious danger right now?
Yes, Jeff, across the street, and there are some area buildings, as you can see, that have some pretty significant structural damage. These people are going to have to get structural engineers in those buildings to check the integrity prior to letting their employees back in. Again, I think Mayor Norick this afternoon will have an announcement as to if people want to stay out of downtown tomorrow.
Okay. So. Well, tell me about the emotional effect on the firefighters and the rescue people that are working. You've brought people in as far away as Tulsa, Davis, Oklahoma. There's people from all over the state coming in here. What kind of an emotional toll are these people going to be facing, and are you setting up an emotional triage for your workers?
Yes, sir. We've got a critical incident stress debriefing area set up when we bring our folks out. It is emotional. I've met firefighters coming out of the building who've had tears in their eyes from crawling through and looking at the devastation both to the building and the people. And it's emotional trying to rescue people, and it's very taxing, and but we're going to be here and throughout it, and we're going to do the very best we can.
Reports that there have been reports of 2 explosive devices, unexploded explosive devices found. So it's important for us to get the National Guard on the scene. It's important for us to get the law enforcement community on the scene, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, all of the authorities of the state to assist the Oklahoma City Police Department and the authorities in A, securing the area, obviously B, caring for the injured, and C, making sure that this does not recur.
Any idea, sir, on who may be responsible for this, or any idea?
None whatsoever.
What, any different plans for what's going on around the Capitol building? Are you beefing up security of the mansion, anything like that, or other state office buildings?
Well, I can't be specific as to whatever security measures are being taken, but certainly whatever security measures are required will be taken. The fact is, we don't know what occurred, who did it, how extensive it was. It's just important that we provide now an immediate response to care for the injured, an immediate response to provide law enforcement crowd control and emergency services for the Highway Patrol and Department of Public Safety and the Oklahoma National Guard, which we are doing. And of course, providing any assistance to the Oklahoma City Police Department and the Oklahoma City authorities they need. This was a ghastly thing that happened, and we want to make sure that those who have been injured will be cared for and that this cannot recur.
Are really cowardly, almost satanic people that would slaughter innocent people like this, and I certainly hope that they're going to be apprehended and punished very quickly.
Well, we have had reports recently that the FBI is looking for 3 suspects, 2 described as Middle Eastern. We don't know yet who is behind this, but we have heard reports of some terrorist groups in this country, specifically Oklahoma City. Why do you think this could have happened to Oklahoma City?
Well, it's a shocking thing because it's not anything that you would think of ever happening to a place like in Oklahoma or Oklahoma City. We're a pretty peaceful neighborhood, and I can't think of any terrorist activity we've ever had before. So we're not a hotbed of terrorist activity. There may have been some that were there, obviously, but these are terrorists, and I don't know where they're from. I don't know if they're from this country or not, but regardless, anybody that would do this type of activity, plant a bomb in a public building, responsible for the loss of a lot of lives, destroying many other lives, because frankly, if you're a parent and you lost a child, or if you're lost a loved one that was working there, or they're injured significantly, this is going to ruin a lot of people's lives. It's going to cost millions of dollars. We need to do everything we can do to find who's responsible and punish them aggressively. And I think this makes an excellent case for the death penalty. Anybody that would do this type of activity is certainly worthy of that punishment.
To go back to take care of whatever we do with our patients on the outside, because there is nothing to do. Everyone that's in the building right now, in 2 hours, there was one person found, and everyone else is dead.
Everyone else who's in the building at this point is beyond help, is what you're saying.
They're unable to reach these people, or the ones that they have been discovering, we can't provide help for. I mean, they're beyond help. They're dead.
About how many people, do you have any idea, are in there?
Well, when we were released to come out, the coroner had indicated that he needed 100 more body bags, so he wouldn't ask for that if he didn't need it.
So the indication that you're getting is at least another 100 people dead in that building.
Sounds like it.
How are the medical workers holding up? This is such a horrible, horrible thing. Has any of this reality hit you yet?
No.
We're still living on adrenaline mostly at this point. When you initially go in, you're trying to deal with these things first response, and you go on instinct and adrenaline. It's later whenever the reality sinks in.
It'll be late this afternoon when we all start sitting around together crying, because that's what she'll do. Especially with, I don't have small children. My children are grown, but these kids are not alive. I know there were 6 initially that got out that were in critical condition that went to Children's Medical Center, but now the rest of the kids that are in there, there's no help for them.
And do you have any idea how many of them are children? How many children?
There's no way to tell. Parts of the building, there's the third and the fourth floor are in the basement. Second and third and fourth floor are in the basement. The man that fell, that was on the 4th floor, the floor dropped out from him. So if you've got 4 floors of devastation to go through, it's going to take you a long time. It's not like an earthquake hitting.
They're working inch by inch to get the rubble and the concrete and the steel off of these people, and they're just going. It's a slow, tedious process right now.
When you say it's not like an earthquake hitting, you mean it's more severe and more profound?
Definitely.
Right. I lived through the San Francisco earthquake, and this isn't like it at all. The building there's no comparison. This building has been torn and ripped apart from the inside out on that one side. In an earthquake, it breaks into large pieces. This is in small chunks. There's bolts of the building over a city block, down the street. Parking meters are in the middle of the street. Pieces of cars are in there.
Good evening. It is now clear to the investigators that the enormous explosion at a federal building in Oklahoma City this morning was the work of terrorists. The bomb went off just as hundreds of people had showed up for work, just as children had been dropped off at a daycare center on the 2nd floor. In one devastating moment, the whole front side of the building was ripped away. There is simply no way to be specific about how many people have lost their lives. But the death toll is clearly increasing as the hours go by and emergency teams work their way through the devastation. We do know that 17 children were killed in the daycare center, others injured. It was easy to see why the governor of Oklahoma said this was the work of animals. Our first report is from Aaron Hayes, who's on the scene.
Most people were already inside at work here when the blast ripped the 9-story federal office building apart, shattering floors and the offices inside. Most devastating of all, the daycare center on the 2nd floor destroyed. That was where most of the children who were killed had been.
We pulled probably, we pulled 6 dead babies out and a couple of dead women. And It's just the most devastating.
Everything fell on top of
It's the most devastating thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's just like an atomic bomb went off. The ceiling went in, and all the windows came in.
I didn't know if it was a tornado or an earthquake. The whole building shook, and then everything just started crashing down on top of you, and you just kind of hit the floor and waited till it all stopped.
This is the main triage area.
For hours, the scene here remained chaotic. People injured by exploding glass and debris stood dazed, looking for help. It was difficult to find enough ambulances to take care of all of them.
Make a hole! Make a hole! Hold it up! Make a hole! Go! Damn it! Go! Go, Kurt!
I never experienced anything like it. You feel the concussion, and then next thing you know, you're on the floor covered in glass. Probably lost consciousness for just a few seconds, but it was really amazing.
Authorities now say it appears to have been a car bomb in a vehicle parked in front of the federal building that caused the explosion. The force from it damaged buildings nearby and was felt 30 miles away. Rescue work has made it clear just how much damage was done. Whole sections of floors collapsed.
You can see on the upper floors in one of those offices there are some people trapped up there. They were up there for quite some time while we were there. You can see the firefighter there climbing up a ladder, trying to get as close as possible to those people, but he was shy about 2 floors. Very frustrating for him, I'm sure, just no way to get up there.
It has taken all afternoon for rescuers to recover bodies here. People were trapped inside for hours, and some are still believed trapped here.
We've got some people alive that are trapped beneath rubble that is kind of pancake laying at an angle, and it's going to take some very large, heavy equipment to assist us in moving that so we can get to some of the people.
Outside, friends and family of those who worked here searched for them amidst the confusion. Emergency workers were overwhelmed. For a long time, there was no one to explain what had happened or who had survived it.
We've had a lot of little rocky things getting in our way. We found a rocket that was in a bunker inside the building that had fallen down, and the bomb squad took care of that. But again, we're just systematically going through the building. We do still have people, survivors inside the building that we are attempting to get out this time.
I just woke up and I was covered with glass. I didn't know what was going on. I just got out.
And came out and looked, and I saw all of this black smoke and everything, and I ran up here, and then I saw all of the injured children.
As a precaution, all of the city's state and federal workers were sent home. Buildings around the explosion site evacuated.
You okay? Let's get you over with everybody else so you can relax, okay?
With workers still sifting through debris, it is unclear when this section of the city might return to normal.
Bombing in Oklahoma City was an attack on innocent children and defenseless citizens. It was an act of cowardice, and it was evil. The United States will not tolerate it, and I will not allow the people of this country to be intimidated.
2 suspects now have been identified, known only as John Doe. They're both about 5'10" to 5'11", about 180 pounds, both with brown hair, one with a crew cut, the other with a tattoo. Those sketches were released as rescue workers worked their way through the wreckage of the Murrah Federal Building, looking for survivors among the close to 200 people believed to be still in that rubble.
Authorities now believe the truck that bore the bomb was parked in a space alongside the Federal Building. A second vehicle may have been nearby to permit the bombers to escape. The FBI said today it was a huge explosion and that the explosive used was most likely a simple combination of fertilizer and fuel oil.
The indictment charges that Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, former Army buddies with a grudge against the government, planned the bombing, selected the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City as their target, bought and stole materials for the bomb, and built it.
McVeigh is specifically charged with having delivered the bomb to the Murrah Building in a truck that he rented under a false name and having detonated the bomb at the Murrah Building.
I intend to recommend to the Department of Justice and the Attorney General of the United States that the death penalty be sought against both McVeigh and Nichols.
Timothy McVeigh, guilty. Guilty of murder, guilty of conspiracy, guilty on all 11 federal charges that he faced in the Oklahoma City bombing trial. His conviction comes a little more than 2 years after a massive bomb
shattered the Murrah Federal Building, killing 168 people, including 19 children. It was the worst terrorist act in American history, and Timothy McVeigh could now be sentenced to death.
This morning, the United States of America carried out the severest sentence for the gravest of crimes. The victims of the Oklahoma City bombing have been given not vengeance, but justice. And one young man met the fate he chose for himself 6 years ago. For the survivors of the crime and for the families of the dead, the pain goes on. Final punishment of the guilty cannot alone bring peace to the innocent. It cannot recover the loss or balance the scales, and it is not meant to do so. Today, every living person who was hurt by the evil done in Oklahoma City can rest in the knowledge that there has been a reckoning.